There's something about Thanksgiving that you may not be aware of. Thanksgiving for someone with an eating disorder is one of the hardest holidays of the year. Let's just sit with my step ahead. I'm in recovery from an eating disorder, and I want to share just a few tips today for those who are struggling with an eating disorder, maybe in secret, or maybe you're in recovery from an eating disorder. I want to help you with some tools to get through the holiday weekend. Specifically for someone, if you are in recovery from an eating disorder, I see you and I am right there with you. My first year in recovery in 2016 was the worst Thanksgiving of my life, to the point my dietitian called me because I was texting her. I understand the struggle. For those who are struggling, one of the best tips that I can give you is talk with your team in advance. If you have a dietitian, you have a counselor, talk with them, have a plan. What is your meal plan already? Stick with that. Stay focused on what you are doing to take care of yourself. Thanksgiving is another meal in the year. Yes, there is a lot of other stuff attached to it. And for someone with an eating disorder, it's another meal to be balanced with a regular meal plan. Those of you who are in recovery know what I'm talking about. So keep to your regular meal plan. Eat your breakfast and your lunch and your snacks, or whatever your family does whenever you end up having your Thanksgiving meal. But be sure you plan around that so that you know when your family's going to eat. And you can work yourself backwards for when you need to make sure that you're having breakfast and having some kind of mid-morning snack so that when the meal comes around, it's just part of your regular routine. That is one of the best tips I can give someone in recovery is stick to your plan. Talk to your team and let them help you create that plan. And if others in your family know, if you're in an environment where others know that you are in recovery, let them know what you need. If there's not the secret of it, they want to support you and they're going to want to know what they can do to help you. Depending on how far you are in recovery and how they're doing with you in recovery, it might still be awkward. It might still feel a little of, I don't know what I can say. I don't want to trigger this person and all those fears. They need you to take the lead. They need you to be the one to say, hey, this is what I need. And maybe you even mention the eating disorder and break the ice. The less it becomes a focal point, the easier it is to get through the day. You have a lot of tools in your toolbox. You're already in recovery. You're doing the hard work now. Lean on those resources, use those tools, know what your boundaries are, how to speak up for yourself, and know how to make a plan to make it manageable. And be sure you include some self care after that, because I know for us, no matter what, being around a food centric holiday can be really draining. So be sure you include some self care in your plan. Now, for those who may be secretly suffering from an eating disorder, I see you and I get it as well. I secretly suffered for a very long time. And I got very nervous and very anxious and felt like all eyes were on me. And I'm sitting there, I've got to eat, and I know, but I really don't want to, and I don't want to be here, but it's my family and I love them and I want to be with them. And it just gets to be a real game in the head. I understand. My tip for you would be to know your triggers. You may not be real familiar with what a trigger is yet, but it's something that causes you to have a reaction. And in this case, something that makes you want to exercise your eating disorder behaviors. So know what that is. If it's sitting next to a certain person, sit away from them. If it's being, I don't know, maybe being in a certain environment, maybe it's a certain type of food, have a plan for how you're going to manage that. If you're suffering in secret, it's a little, it's not a little, it's a lot more difficult because it amps up the isolation. It really adds to that lie of I'm all alone and nobody cares and no one understands. They may not understand because you haven't let them know yet. So I understand what it's like to suffer in silence. But just identify for yourself going into the holiday. When do you get nervous around food? And what around Thanksgiving could potentially make you even more nervous? When you can identify those, set a couple boundaries. It might be come up with some food neutral comments. You know, yes, there's a lot of crazy things that are said around the holidays, and that's for a whole other conversation about how to help somebody in an eating disorder and what not to say. Right now, for those food centric comments, come up with a neutral response. Somebody might say something and it's like, oh, I'm just focusing on enjoying today, thank you, or something like that. There are a couple articles I found online that have some fantastic tips, and I will be putting those links in the comments and description of this video. Please be sure you take a look at those because they may be what help you get through. Another thing, as hard as it is, reach out. There are hotlines you can use for eating disorders. National Eating Disorder Association has a hotline. I don't know that it's active on Thanksgiving, but they do have a hotline that's available on a regular basis. Again, I will put that resource in the description as well. Reach out to somebody where you can get some support. Right now, if you're suffering in silence, you're not trying to solve the world. You're just trying to get through. And there are people that want to help you get through. Once you get through, then if you're ready to enter into recovery, that's a whole other process and adventure, and one that needs to be away from a holiday before you really start that if you're not ready for that just yet. So I wanted to share just a few tips. I heard on the radio today, a radio station was talking about a Martha Stewart comment in an article about the right time to eat Thanksgiving and why. And that was a trigger for me. It triggered me of why can't Thanksgiving just be another meal? Why do we have to make such a thing about it? It's food. It's just food. We put so much around it because of the people we get to be with. It's an excuse and an exciting time to be with people you haven't seen for a while. And that's what it's helpful to focus on are the people and not the product on the table. I'll be sharing more in the future about eating disorders. In February, in particular, they have National Eating Disorder Awareness Week, and I'm planning a number of videos for that time already. But I'm in recovery from an eating disorder, and I try to be very open about that. It does not mean I have it all together. It doesn't mean I don't struggle, especially now that I'm the one doing the cooking after mom died. So I understand, and I want to be with you and I want to support you. So I'd love to hear in the comments how I can support you more. And if you're not comfortable publishing something in the comments, email me. I'll put my emails in the description as well. I'm here for you. I want to support you. It is possible to have a happy Thanksgiving, and it depends on you taking the lead.